everybody, and welcome to this special on Mercury transiting retrograde in Scorpio. Hi everybody, I'm Amani. I'm a karmic, holistic, astrological life coach, and I like to go in depth in all that I do, and all of my interpretations, especially when it comes to Venus, Mercury, Sun transits, and everything really, are based on Vedic astrology, which is based on where the planets or the luminaries, which are the sun and the moon, are any given time in the sky, and all times are in GMT time as well. So yeah, thanks for listening, and yeah. So this happens on the 26th of November at 2:43 AM GMT time, and Mercury's still out of bounds when it enters retrograde, and they've done a whole special on that, so check it out. And then Mercury stays out of bounds while still retrograde in Scorpio until the 30th of November at 9:56 PM, and then Mercury goes direct out of retrograde while still in Scorpio on the 15th of December at 8:57 PM. So yeah, so you know me, I'm gonna go and look at Mercury retrograde from every angle. So first, let's start with I'm Amani, your holistic karmic astrologer, and now I'm going to talk about what Mercury represents in general astrology, and a bit about how it influences our collective human behaviour. So Mercury represents communication, intellect, the way we process information, siblings, short distance travel, the things that happen to us in short distance travel. It can also indicate any problems with early learning or any learning difficulty throughout your lifetime. It influences how we express ourselves, make decisions, think, how we interact with others, and Mercury's position in the birth chart can just show us also how we communicate our thoughts and ideas, how we perceive the world, what we think about ourselves and the world around us. And on the broader scale, in terms of our collective human behaviour, it also influences how we communicate on a larger scale, such as through social media, social news outlets, traditional news outlets, clubs, organisations, even though, groups and organisations is ruled by Aquarius in the 11th house more, but, it still influences it on the lower levels. And, just our day-to-day communication with neighbours, the postman or milkman, stuff like that as well. And when Mercury's in retrograde, there's always a higher risk of misunderstandings, technological problems, and delays in communication, and the impact communication has on society as a whole as well. So now I'm going to talk about the astrological meanings, positives, negatives, and best use of transiting Mercury retrograde in Scorpio out of bounds. So positively, Scorpio energy, it allows us to go into our deep-seated emotions and desires, really looking at our psychological, emotional, and spiritual traumas as well, and digging deep. We can revisit past conversations, especially in our mind, but we just have to watch out to not overthink and drive ourselves into, a panic or anxiety. But, the sort of self-reflection can help us confront unresolved issues, especially those related to trust and intimacy. And they can also be sort of like misunderstandings in communication, and it's essential to be cautious with written and verbal exchanges right now, because it can be a bit fiery, jealous on the negative, and obsessive, because we can overthink. And it encourages us to explore our subconscious thoughts. This can lead to potential breakthroughs in psychological growth and transformation. So we have to just try and be patient, open, and have a willingness to confront buried emotions for our personal and spiritual and even our intellectual development as well. And it's a time when secrets can also come out, secrets we've hidden from ourselves, secrets other people have hidden from us, because Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, and esoterically Pluto moves the 12th house, which is where Pisces and Neptune are traditionally. And so, all 12th house stuff, overindulging in drugs, sex and alcohol and stuff like that can come up as well, especially in terms of sexual speech. And we just have to make sure we get consent and respect other people's boundaries. And just by allowing us to go within can allow us to gain deeper psychological and spiritual insight. But we just have to watch out for the increased emotional sensitivity, as I said, and this can lead to impulsiveness, power struggles, misunderstandings, miscommunication, escapism. People can be manipulative and have hidden agendas. You can have hidden agendas at this time, which can backfire because, the Scorpio energy here. And ultimately, the best use of this is to self-reflect, revisit your past wounds, ask yourself, if you lie, why do you lie? If you don't use your power, why don't you do that? If you allow others to control you, why do you do that? And so on and so on and so on. And just trying to get to the root causes of your trauma and motivation right now, and encourages us to communicate more authentically with ourselves and those we can trust, and doing so can lead to profound personal growth. And it wants us to really explore complex subjects as well, because all forms of research and investigation is good right now as well. And if we embrace this energy, we can have a greater sense of emotional clarity at the end of it. So now I'm just going to talk about the holistic, practical, financial, political, worldly, materialistic, and more about the social collective meanings of Mercury transiting in retrograde in general. Just going into the deeper layers of Mercury retrograde energy and what it means to us. So Mercury retrograde, it brings a lot of fear and apprehension to us. Most people fear it because it's like, oh my gosh, technology is going to do this, communication is going to do that. But if we learn to use it for what it is, this energy encourages us to go within us and also reassess the things in our life, revisit past projects, think about our relationships, even old relationships, trying to uncover patterns that we've had in every relationship that may be sort of like bringing toxicity and stopping us from having healthy relationships, or the ways we may allow others to overstep our boundaries that can affect our decisions and us reaching our goals as well. And by doing this, we can make the necessary changes that we need to do as we uncover these unhidden truths and resolve lingering issues that need our attention but we normally push away. As death is a big one, Scorpio energy, 8th house energy as well, represents the afterlife, the things we keep hidden, the things that we're scared of. A lot of us are scared of death, so revisiting times when you've lost, times when you grieve. Not to, if you feel like you're not emotionally stable to do so, then don't do so. But by working through these issues of resistance to let go, or pain from past heartbreaks and stuff, you can lead to you having creative breakthroughs. And it just invites us to slow down and reconsider our approach to the different areas of our life. Our behaviours, are our thoughts, our actions, are our relationships productive? And the communication delays that we can experience in the technology, glitches and stuff like that, wants us to increase our flexibility and patience, being able to work around, because a lot of the time we rely on technology so much now, and there was a time before social media, I remember it, and technology, so it's about, going back to those basic skills, of cooking a meal, and not saying, just those basic human skills of using our hands and being able to use pen and paper even, because sometimes with these technological breakdowns we have to go back to these traditional methods, and that's why they have last for a long time. So it wants us to adapt a proactive, we can do mindset as we navigate challenges and disruptions, and seeing them as obstacles to our goals, not things that are going to stop us from reaching our goals, So on the practical level, it wants us to refine our plans and strategies, think about, pause and reflect upon our ongoing projects and commitments. We may find that certain relationships need repairing, or that previous ideas need to be re-looked at with a fresh perspective, and by doing that, an old project where you thought, it's ended, can be restarted in a new way. It wants us to focus on the lessons of the past so we can chance our future plans, live a more happy future and develop a more thoughtful approach to our goals. But negatively, disruptions to our routine can really test us right now, and the miscommunication in both our professional and personal life can lead to misunderstandings, and this can affect workflow and just family time or date night, stuff like that, the social time, and financial activities, dealings can have complications as well. So just make sure you check the details, do not sign away your life, sort of thing. Make sure you do extra diligence, check the paperwork to avoid errors or oversights which could be costly. Stay organised, maintain as clear lines of communication as you can, and just watch out for the confused state that you and others can be in, and don't be afraid to ask for time out, or don't feel because you're normally a quick thinker that you need to be quick at this time, because we can all just be slowed down in our thought processes right now. So I'm going to talk a bit more about the financial implications now. So it can allow us to have a clearer understanding of our spending habits and financial goals. It can inspire us to renew our financial plans and budgets, and rethink our investments and renegotiate contracts, or even discover overlooked opportunities that can lead to savings or increase income. A lot of you may find hidden talents that you now want to use, and this can bring in extra income. Ultimately, it's a time to reflect on your past financial decisions and cultivate a more strategic approach to saving. And even if you've lost everything, you've got nothing now, remember, we can lose and make many small fortunes in our life if we allow it. And I don't want to be blasé about it. We can't change the past. We have a saying in England, there's no point crying over spilt milk. I say, cry over it for a bit, but there has to come a time when we, allow ourselves to focus on what we can do rather than what we lost. So it wants us to look at how we can improve our financial well-being. But negatively, there can also be delays in transactions, errors in financial documents, or misunderstandings regarding agreements and payments. So it's important to check all paperwork and double check all financial dealings in general right now to avoid costly mistakes, as I said. And by being methodical in your financial approach, you can minimize the potential pitfalls. So now I'm just going to talk more about the social collective impact. So because we can feel a bit nostalgic, sentimental, emotional, we may reconnect with old friends, lovers, acquaintances, and we could find value in revisiting unresolved issues and unfinished conversations, and this can lead to more healing and closure right now. And as we reflect on our past connections, there is a chance for teamwork and understanding to do well and thrive, and we can sort of think about working together in grassroots movements as communities, neighbours, to address shared community concerns. But negatively, because during Mercury Retrograde there's an increased risk of miscommunication and understandings. This can create friction within social networks, and as tensions get high, group settings can find that, people take what we say the wrong way, and this can lead to impulsive words and actions and disillusionment in groups. So it's important to practice patience and empathy, and to do all you can to gain clarity, and do all you can to reduce the tension, and do not make assumptions, as this can derail important discussions, and the main points you're trying to solve can get overlooked, so it's best not to do that. So on the worldly materialistic level, as I said, it wants us to reevaluate our spending habits and all our habits, our daily routines, exercise, what we eat, how much we sleep, how much we Netflix and chill, how much we don't have fun, thinking about how we can bring more balance into our life, how we can add more value to our life, how we can create more clarity and a sense of purpose in our life as well, and trying to reduce frustration at this time and being hasty in our decisions and rushing decisions, especially in our financial commitments, as I said. So we just have to try and have caution in all these areas and really read the writing on the wall, and don't be afraid to make the changes we need to make right now. Now I'm going to talk about the psychological, spiritual, esoteric, hidden, mythological, symbolic, creative and emotional meanings of Mercury transiting in retrograde. So psychologically, it wants us to reflect on how we convey, get our points across with our thoughts and emotions to ourselves and others, and think about the misunderstandings that come up in your life, and especially now those misunderstandings can come up more frequently. So just asking yourself to question why these misunderstandings come up, and if it's just a one-time thing, or are there certain patterns in your communication that lead you to being in conflict with yourself and others. Do you make assumptions? Do others make assumptions about you, and does this bring out your defense style automatically? And if it does, ask yourself why these people make you feel defensive. How can you become less defensive around them? And a lot of the time we want people to change. Ideally they would change, right? But what I've learned is the best thing we can do is change ourselves. If we decide to keep being in their company, it's best to become resilient to their actions, and if we can't, then it's best to leave their company, in my experience, or distance yourself, spend as less time as you can with them, if the family members and stuff. It wants us to reassess our communication patterns especially, and this can allow for greater mindfulness and intentionality in our communication. It wants us to pay attention to our inner conversations, our dialogue, and Mercury retrograde can amplify our inner talk. And listening to these criticisms in our mind is often formed of words people said to us in the past, words we've said to others that we wish we didn't, things we wish we did, what we didn't, thinking about how we can reduce those voices, how we can start or continue the work of healing ourselves on the psychological, emotional and spiritual levels, and how we can sort of become at peace with them and manage ourselves and learn to accept, build our self-esteem, love and understanding and awareness more as well. It wants us to think about how our beliefs, our judgments, the things we believe true about the world and others shape our interactions, because a lot of the time our subconscious mind dominates our conscious reality, because we don't think, we just kind of do things automatically in our comfort zones. So it wants us to be aware of our perception of reality and the fact that it may feel skewed right now, it may be at odds with reality right now, and this can influence decision making in our relationships. So some of you may want to take some time out from making decisions right now. So the best use of this on the psychological level is to create deeper self-awareness and increase your communication skills, especially with the way you talk to yourself internally. In terms of spiritual lessons, it wants us to think about the patterns and beliefs that control our life and how they shape our experiences. It wants us to move forward with renewed clarity as we use these insights and wisdom to empower us and create a deeper connection with our intuition and ourselves, or aspects of ourselves, our strengths and our weaknesses, and we can just find more solace in stillness and solitude right now, and this can allow for us to have our inner guidance and to be more at peace with ourselves. And journaling, meditation and all sorts of spiritual practice can support us in our self-reflection and help us navigate through the chaos and confusion and stay stable. And by learning these lessons, we not only increase our self-acceptance and love, but also develop a more authentic and mindful approach to our relationships and communication to ourselves and others in the future. So now I'm going to talk about the esoteric meanings of Mercury Retrograde. So in Mercury Retrograde wants us to really connect with our forgotten memories, which can just resurface naturally. We may not want to think about the past. A lot of the time it can be triggering, but it offers a chance to heal the wounds that come up and release attachments that no longer serve you. And by embracing any revelations or visions or thoughts that come up, you can get valuable insights into your hidden motivations, fears and desires. It also allows us to be more creative and intuitive, and it wants us to think outside of the box. Logical thinking is the traditional, conventional way, and it has its place, but a lot of the time we ignore our gut feelings, and a lot of the things that outside people say, experts in their fields, but a lot of the time we place too much emphasis, not knowing that these ideas and these things, theories and stuff that we believe to be true, and of course some things are observable and true, but all originate from a human, and being a human being yourself, you have your flaws, you have your good and your bad points, we all do. So the best wisdom, especially about your life, because you're the only one with you 24/7, has to come from you. So this energy encourages us to tap into our imagination and express ourselves in new and innovative ways, and take unconventional approaches to solving your problems right now, and again shows that you may discover hidden talents or interests that have previously been overshadowed by your daily routines. And by honouring these hidden aspects of your psyche, you can emerge with a richer understanding of yourself and equipped to embrace the challenges and opportunities that lay ahead, and building more self-esteem, confidence, resilience, and get up and go. So in terms of the mythological and occult symbols, in Roman mythology, Mercury is the messenger of gods, often depicted with winged sandals, symbolised by swift communication and travel. So during Mercury retrograde, the symbolism of Mercury, the messenger of gods, takes on a dual nature, and it represents not only disruption of communication, but also gives us the opportunity to revisit and decode messages from our past and ancient alchemical texts. So represent and depict Mercury as a fluid element that facilitates transformation, reminding you that this period is ripe, good for personal transformation. So this is, on a personal level, where we can dissolve old habits and beliefs to create a new path, where we can take the pain of the past, the thoughts of the past, and see how they hold us back and upgrade them. And the symbology of the Cadius, which is a staff entwined with two serpents, has also been associated with Mercury, and this embodies the balance of opposites. And of course Mercury rules Gemini, which is the twins, and has the two pillars of I can't say the names, but the initials are B and J, and the black and white pillars, which represents the duality of life, and it wants us to balance our intellect and intuition, and it serves as a reminder to harmonize our rational thoughts with our emotional insights. And And as we navigate this energy and think about how these mythological symbols can guide us, we can embrace the dual nature of our experiences and, the chaos of miscommunication and the clarity that, emerges from revisiting unresolved issues. And this can ultimately enrich our personal growth and self-discovery, and that's what it's all about. So now I'm just going to talk a bit more about how you can manage your emotions during Mercury retrograde. So because this period can bring misunderstandings, technological breakdowns, and us revisiting old feelings, it's best to use creativity to express our emotions right now, whether it be through singing, dancing, writing, painting, gaming, producing music, creating anything right now can provide you with a safe space for emotional expression, and it supports a deeper understanding of your feelings. And by allowing your imagination to flow, you can uncover hidden insights and new beliefs that can transform your emotional, psychological and spiritual world, and as I said before, journaling, meditation can help you process your emotions more effectively. It's time to be gentle with yourself and recognise, that the feelings that come up right now unexpectedly are wanting you to confront and examine them, and not to run away from them, even though it can be easy for you to do this right now. And by doing this, you can build more resilience, and by using your creativity and emotional awareness, you can, really push yourself forward into your healing journey. So now I'm going to talk about the aspects that Mercury is making when it enters retrograde this year and how they affect Mercury retrograde. So we've got Mercury making the sextile square to Mars, which is applying at 2.15 orb, and Mercury making opposition to Jupiter at a 4.50 separating orb, and Mercury making a quincunx to Uranus at a 2.11 applying orb. So this adds to the conflict between our thoughts and emotions, and to the impulsivity and irritability we can have in our communication. So again, it reminds us to be patient and to use mindfulness when expressing our ideas and responding to what other people say. The opposition between Mercury and Jupiter warns us about overextending our thoughts and making, grandiose and big plans. Yes, dream big and think big, but remember, to reach the biggest goals, we have to have a healthy daily routine and consistency. So as long as you make a strategic plan and willing to work for it daily or consistently, know that your dreams may not come true. And this is not me being negative, this is me being, very, very real here. This aspect supports us with thinking outside of tradition, the box, but we just have to watch out for exaggerations and misunderstandings, and we have to be careful with our words, because words can cause a lot of problems right now. And Mercury's quincunx to Uranus supports us in being spontaneous and having innovative ideas as well and expressing ourselves, but because we can feel disconnected about our ideas and how they're received by others, this can add to the confusion. So it's important to remain grounded in our communication and respect other people's boundaries, and make sure that we, assert our boundaries, respect other people's boundaries, but also create a safe space and not people please as well. And we have to speak our mind, because if we don't, we're just sort of like living a lie as well. So it wants us to, and supports us, Mercury's quincunx to Uranus, to balance our creativity with clarity. Mercury also makes a square to Neptune at applying orb of 429. Mercury makes a trine to Chiron at a 3.09 separating, and Mercury also makes a quintile to Descendant at 0.41 separating orb as well. So the square between Neptune and Mercury can bring delusion, and we can make it hard to tell reality from fantasy right now, because our judgments can be clouded with this sort of like influence, and we can have confusion in our thoughts. And this can just add to the misinterpretations, and it encourages us to be cautious about the information we share with others, because we can say things that are not true, and this can add to the disruption, and people can just be skeptic right now as well. So we just need to watch out that we're not misled by half-truths and fantasies. We fact check, we take time out, we watch out for ignoring red flags, being too idealistic, be creative, go into your imagination, engage in spiritual practices, but as I say, it be no one's fault, not even your own, and allow yourself to do things that are creative, so you can sort of like find relief from the sort of like feeling ungrounded or upset that may come your way. And the Chiron supports us with our healing, especially healing our communication, and supports that talking things through with ourselves and others can really be healing right now, and it supports us in addressing our past wounds and emotional pain by speaking our minds effectively, and being able to decipher, to know what we're thinking and feeling, and be in touch with our inner worlds, and supports us in making breakthroughs in our self-understanding, love, acceptance, self-care as well as healing our relationships. And Mercury's quintile to the ascendant, or the soul energy, supports us with expressing ourselves in a way that resonates with others, so it supports our individuality and helps us get our points across to others as well. And we just have to try and stay grounded while these sort of like energies are sort of causing some trauma, but to be able to be real with ourselves, take time out. This will be really, really good for us. Also, there's a T-square which involves Venus in Sagittarius, Chiron in Pisces, and the midheaven in Gemini. So this energy allows us to take a more adventurous approach to love and values, and to connect with others authentically by being emotional vulnerable, and maybe sort of like sharing our unresolved emotional wounds with those we can trust, and this can help us heal. It also wants us to think about and reassess our professional image, our opinions about wealth and status, our public persona, and it wants us to think about how we can be more authentic in our profession and with our friends and with ourselves as well. And it just again allows us to navigate the miscommunications that can come up in our career right now, and it allows us to assert our voice more confidently, but we just have to make sure we respect other people's rights to do so as well. It also gives us the patience that we need as well to sort of like navigate any sort of problems in our professional circle right now. There's also a grand water trine between the Sun in Scorpio, the North Node in Pisces, and Mars in Cancer right now as well. So this grand trine increases our emotional depth and intuition. So this is really good because this energy wants us to get more in tune with ourselves. It also supports us being more empathetic and sensitive in our communication as well, but also adds to the increased emotional intensity that can add to the misunderstandings. So again, just reminds us to be aware and mindful to make sure we navigate challenges in the correct ways. So now I'm going to talk about the karmic meanings and lessons and the type of past life memories and dreams that can come up, as well as the collective karma of Mercury retrograde as well. So yeah, as explained, during Mercury retrograde we can find ourselves revisiting issues from the past, especially unresolved ones. Mercury retrograde wants us to really think deeply about the way we communicate, the way we think, the way we make decisions or do not make decisions, and really go into our emotions and just reflect, reevaluate and reassess things. It wants us to be more flexible in the face of unexpected changes in our life, the obstacles that go on, and to keep on working at our goals, because failures, many of them, are often the roads to success, and self-belief is something you really need to grow and work on. especially, looking at the unresolved psychological, emotional, spiritual traumas that get in the way of you believing and loving yourself and being there for yourself in the ways that you need. It wants us to be more mindful, as I said, and patient, and focus on growing our self-awareness, love, respect, esteem and resilience. And it just reminds us to slow down, reassess our plans, and reflect on how we communicate with ourselves and others ultimately on the karmic level. And it just wants us to pay attention to the details, especially details that we may have overlooked before. And when we look at the memories and dreams that may come up at this time, as I said earlier, we may have vivid imagery and emotions that may be, familiar or different from what we normally are used to. We may dream a completely new dream or think a new thought, and some of you may sort of feel like you've got unfinished business from this life or past incarnations, and some of you, as I said, may feel a stronger connection to your intuition and spiritual beliefs or religious beliefs, or any other beliefs you have may come to the forefront of your consciousness right now. And although these experiences are subjective and open to interpretation, they can offer valuable insights into your personal growth. And some of you may really find yourself having vivid recollections of places, events, or people from a different time period, or even current life memories, and these reoccurring dreams may feel strangely familiar, especially if you're dreaming about a past life that past life that you never remembered before, or but if you're thinking about, you're dreaming recurringly about things that happened in this life, then, you'll feel differently. It wants us to really think, ponder on conflicts that echo through our life, and looking at them from a different dimension of what are they trying to teach you? Why do these lessons keep happening? Are they trying to teach you the power of forgiveness, self-awareness, self-love, compassion, empathy, and this is not to victim blame or anything like that, but really trying to get to the root of why certain things keep on happening and what you can do to avoid these situations, especially if they make you so unhappy in the future. So it wants us to be open and curious rather than fearful or dismissive of these dreams, and writing these dreams down. And it wants us to reflect on our insights and allow ourselves to integrate the lessons that we gain from reflecting on them, integrate them into our present reality by our thoughts and actions. It wants us to heal old wounds, and it empowers us to break free from limiting beliefs and understand our soul's purpose, or higher consciousness purpose, however you want to put it, and just create a deeper connection with yourself and those around you. In terms of collective karma, it wants you to interact with others and systems and places around us. We can become more aware of the interconnectedness of nature and our individual and collective actions, and it wants us to rethink how we, interact with challenges in travel or technical glitches or miscommunication in life. Like, what do you do when your phone's run out of battery or technology's down, social media's down? Do you feel like you can't cope? How does that make you feel? Do you get FOMO? Why do you get FOMO? How can you get in touch with that side of you that may want to try new hobbies, restart old hobbies, or do your hobbies more often? And it wants us to confront and understand the ripple effects of our actions and words and thoughts on our collective community at large, and to focus on creating understanding and healing in our relationships, and to explore how past decisions and societal norms have shaped your current environment, and by recognising certain narratives of human experiences, you can contribute positively to the collective healing process and make way for great empathy and awareness in your interactions with yourself and others. So now I'm going to talk about how Mercury Retrograde can positively and negatively influence our family, friendships, co-worker, committed, hookup and single and self-partnered relationships. So in terms of our family relationships, it can reveal underlying tensions and issues that we've been avoiding, and us talking about them can either strengthen or put a strain on our relationships. Positively, because Mercury Retrograde encourages open communication as misunderstandings come up. This provides an opportunity for healing conversations, and we can discover new things about your family members, and this can lead to a deeper understanding, deeper bond between you. It's a time to reflect on past grievances and address them constructively, and if we do this, we can make way for reconciliation and growth. So because negatively tensions can boil over because of miscommunications and frustration, delays and misunderstandings, and this can put strain on our family relationships, and this can lead to increased hypersensitivity if not managed carefully, and it's essential to approach discussions with patience and clarity. And although there can be arguments at this time, and it just reminds us to be mindful, try and resolve tension. We can't stop it from coming up, but we can try and resolve it and just have a bit more caution and optimism. In terms of friendships, it wants us to reconnect with old friends and encourages us to reach out to those we haven't spoken to in a while, and this can be illuminating and help us clear up once again misunderstandings in our relationships, and we can just be more authentic and supportive as we address lingering issues. But negatively, again, misinterpretations and emotional misfires or explosions can come up, and this can create tensions and a feeling of distance in friendships, and there can be criticism and struggles when expressing thoughts clearly, and people may not like what you say or you might like what they say, and it can become a bit sarcastic or even sadistic at the worst end. So try and be mindful of your words and actions, try not to overreact and take things personally, and try and have an openness and a willingness to listen, so you can turn potential conflicts into opportunities for growth. So now I'm going to talk about how Mercury Retrograde influences co-worker relationships. So it helps us to reassess our teamwork efforts. Is everybody doing their job? And you may find yourself reassessing your team dynamics and recognise areas for efficiency, as I said, improvement in your teamwork, and it can help you to focus on team communication, and encourages you to address any unresolved conflicts and misunderstandings with colleagues or boss, even though this can be hard sometimes to do. And by creating open dialogue, we can strengthen bonds and the work environment can flow more freely. But negatively, because there can be issues around information sharing and communication, and this can lead to confusion about tasks and project expectations, leading to missed deadlines or delays and misunderstandings, and this can create tension if deadlines need to be met, and it wants you to have more patience and gain more clarity in how you talk to your co-workers. And just try and be mindful, because the increase in emotions and misunderstandings can cause a stressful environment. It's important to double check details, make sure everybody is on the same page. This can really help you avoid some of these challenges and help you to sort of like just interact more smoothly. In terms of committed couples, it kind of brings a double-edged sword, because positively encourages us to revisit discussions and past experiences as couples, and create a deeper understanding of each other's feelings and needs. It allows you to self-reflect and take a more introspective approach that allows for more profound communication, and you can sort of like confront unresolved issues as you have as a couple, or maybe the ones you have as individuals, and you can help each other through your psychological, emotional and spiritual trauma right now. You can improve communication skills and gain a clearer vision of your shared goals, and this can strengthen the bond. But again, the miscommunications and understandings can create a sense of frustration and impatience between partners right now. So it's important to have patience and clarity in discussions, and do all you can to practice active listening and create a safe space so you can create more harmony and maintain the harmony and balance in your relationship. In terms of hookups, it wants us to reflect on your emotional needs and communication styles in these relationships, and wants us to be more open and honest about your intentions, and this can lead to a deeper understanding. But negatively, the delay in decisions, again, the miscommunications can lead to uncertainties, and people maybe, I wouldn't say lying, but being a bit secretive in these connections, or people even becoming excessive and jealous and wanting commitment and another person doesn't. It's important to practice, consent, of course, but also if you're not pushing someone to do things that they don't want to do, because it's that law of true affection anyway. And just have more patience with yourself and be brave enough to leave if you do want commitment, and this person can't give it to you, and even if you feel like you love them and they're the one. I'm a great believer of, you can't force people to love you and like you, right? So have empathy with yourself and others at this time, and use this time to promote self-love, esteem and care and awareness. In terms of those who are single and self-partnered, it allows you to gain valuable insights into your romantic preferences and emotional, psychological and spiritual needs, and your personal patterns, and past relationships in general. And by revisiting these experiences, you can uncover lessons that empower you to make informed choices to move forward. And by being reflective, you can gain a greater self-awareness and acceptance, and it can help you to establish a stronger foundation for future connections, or even deepening your relationship with yourself, so you can have a stable relationship with others intimately. But negatively, we can just feel kind of confused about ourselves in the dating world and our self-perception, and this can lead to misunderstandings with potential partners or within yourself, and you can have difficulties in expressing your thoughts and feelings, and this frustration and self-doubt can make you have mixed signals or read signals once, or being clear in your intentions, or being clear about other people's intentions. So double check facts, ask the right questions, remain patient with yourself and others, try and be open-minded, and recognise that these challenges, as all obstacles in life, are just temporary. So now I'm going to talk about how Mercury Retrograde affects personal, career, educational and self-partner development. So So on the negative end, Mercury Retrograde in terms of our careers can bring communication breakdowns, misunderstandings, obstacles, and this can cause delays in projects and potential conflicts with colleagues and superiors, and this can lead to uncertainty and frustration that can get in the way of your personal growth and disrupt your workflow. It can also be difficult for you to express your ideas or receive feedback right now, and this can impact your performance and relationships. Ultimately, it's a time for self-reflection and reassessment, and it wants you to refine and improve old projects and maybe restart some of the ones you left. Ultimately, it wants you to step back and reevaluate your career path, prompting you to consider whether your current role aligns with your long-term career goals. And by using self-reflection, you can identify areas for growth and make strategic decisions that increase your career path. In terms of personal development, because miscommunication can come up, we want to be able to be, effective in navigating our personal conversations right now, because if we don't, it can cause rifts, arguments, breakdowns, and this can bring a sense of isolation to some of you as you struggle with self-doubt and insecurities, which can sort of push you to question your choices or current direction in life in all areas, from your romantic relationships, family, friendship, career, all of it, So it's an invaluable opportunity for personal growth and reflecting on past experiences and lessons learned or lessons not learned, what you need to learn, and to gain greater understanding, clarity about your personal values, desires and needs. And this is an ideal time to embrace self-assessment, as this can lead to meaningful changes in your mindset or habits. And by recognising patterns in your behaviour and reassessing your goals, you can come out of this phase with a renewed sense of purpose. In terms of spiritual development, it can bring confusion, negatively, and misinterpretation of spiritual messages and insights, which can lead to feelings of doubt and disconnection from your spiritual practices. It can also challenge your faith in your intuitive abilities, making you to question the validity of your spiritual experiences. And disruptions in communication can get in the way of your ability to engage with spiritual communities or mentors, leaving you feeling isolated in your journey. But ultimately, as we grow in our spiritual journeys, we have to start to trust the wisdom from within us and allow this to, this supposed time of isolation can just mean that, you feel disconnected from your practice, so you can go deeper within and face your shadow, and to deepen your spiritual understanding. And it encourages you to revisit past spiritual beliefs and practices, and it provides a chance for profound personal insight. And as we confront old patterns and unresolved issues, we can gain the opportunity to heal and transform past wounds, leading to a greater sense of alignment with our true self. And as we engage in meditation and journaling and other introspective practices, we can tap into our inner wisdom and create more growth and clarity. But also remember, sometimes in our spiritual journey, the silence is not always just being cut off from our higher power or ourselves. It's us having to face our emotions, because healing is a layered process, talking from experience. So each life experience gives us a chance to heal deeper. On each level, our psychological, our emotional, spiritual wounds are wounds to do with not being good enough, being inadequate, being weak, being abandoned, rejected, not living up to other people's expectations, not being deserving of love and stuff. It takes time, and sometimes we forget to be gentle on ourselves when we try to spiritual bypass, not understanding spirituality allows us to cope with our emotions better. But not saying that all things cannot be healed. I believe all things can be healed in time, but for some people maybe 1 year, for over 10 years, 20, 30, for some people lifetimes, So in terms of our educational development, negatively we can have disruptions in communication with our teachers or peers right now. This can lead to misunderstandings that can get in the way of your learning process. And there can also be scheduling conflicts, technological issues and lost assignments that can create frustrations and distractions from your academic goals and progress. And also, once again, we can just have self-doubt about our intellectual or other capabilities right now that can get in the way of our motivation to go after new knowledge and skills. Ultimately, it's a unique opportunity for reflection and re-evaluation of your educational journey. Do you still want to do this course? And don't just quit your course because you feel like you want to right now. Write down the pros and cons list, and maybe when Mercury goes direct, really think about it. If you want to change, maybe family and other people will let you change your major or minor, whatever you do, your degree or your GCSEs. I don't think there are those anymore. So anyway, yeah. So it wants us to really look at our study materials and concepts and engage with it and allow ourselves the time to gain a deeper understanding and integrate the knowledge. Not everybody learns at the same pace. Do not compare your journey, educational journey, with anyone else, and it wants you to reflect on past lessons and experiences in terms of your academic ambitions, and this can help you clarify what you really want, allow yourself to have these new insights and reconnect with your core interests and passions and reignite with your enthusiasm for learning, because maybe the reason why you don't like your subjects or the way that you're working academically right now is because you're using old techniques, maybe looking at new ways you can learn. Maybe if you normally listen to things orderly, do it visually, just looking at mind maps, using colour, different techniques that can help you learn and make learning a bit more fun for you, even if you are the more pragmatic type. So in terms of self-partner development, the confusion can just make you misinterpret your own needs and desires, and this can create a sense of frustration or stagnation in your personal growth journey. And as you struggle to articulate your feelings or make decisions that align with your authentic self, just be gentle with yourself. And while you're going through any communication problems right now, but positively, because it gives us a chance to revisit past emotions and things, it allows you to identify patterns that get in the way of you, healing and self-acceptance and personal evolution and love. And meditative practices can help you gain clarity and create a deeper connection with yourself, making a way for more authentic self-partnership with yourself and authentic connections with others as you become more empowered. So now I'm just going to sum up with the best activities for creatives, professionals, entrepreneurs, alternative healers, lovers and single and self-partnered people to do when Mercury's in retrograde. So for creatives, it's a great time to focus on activities such as journaling, sketching, or exploring new ways of creative expression or anything else you like, and doing singing, dancing, producing music, writing books, writing short stories, podcasting, whatever. For professionals, it's a great time to review and revise projects, organise your workspace, connect with colleagues. Entrepreneurs should use this energy to strategize, plan for future, events and projects, and re-evaluate your business goals. Alternative healers, can find it beneficial to focus on self-care practices, energy healing sessions and meditation. Lovers can use this time to deepen their emotional connection through open communication and quality time together. Singles should take this time to focus on personal growth activities and trying new hobbies and healing, as should self-partnered people. In fact, singles and everybody should dedicate time to self-love rituals, setting intentions for personal development and engaging in activities that bring you joy and happiness. So now I'm just going to finish up with some questions you can ask yourself on Mercury's retrograde. So on the financial level, you can ask yourself, are you satisfied with your current financial situation and spending habits? What steps can you take to improve your financial well-being and, bring more stability on the financial level into your life? Emotionally, you can ask yourself how you're currently managing your emotional needs and your overall mental and spiritual well-being. You can ask yourself, are there any unresolved emotional, psychological and spiritual issues that require attention or healing? In terms of on the spiritual level, you can ask yourself, am I connected to my spiritual beliefs or practices? Do I have any spiritual beliefs? Why not? Do I need to realign with my values and beliefs for an inner sense of peace and purpose and stability? On the psychological level, you can ask yourself, am I prioritizing my mental health and seeking support when needed? Are there any negative thought patterns or behaviours that I need to address? On the physical level, you can ask yourself, are you taking care of your physical health and well-being adequately? Do you need to make changes to your diet, exercise, routine, or even self-care? Do you hug yourself, massage yourself, clean behind your ears and the little crevices of your nose? It's really taking time to know your body, how to nurture yourself, how to manage it, and do the things that will support your physical wellness. So yeah, that's the end of this very in-depth guide on Mercury retrograde. I'm Amani, take care and see you next time.